Last weekend was the global pre-release for High Seas, the wider community's first chance to crack packs and hunt for treasure. All of that excitement eclipsed a small but significant milestone. Last weekend marked 1 year since Blaze Firemind became legal with her release at the UK Games Expo. Blaze's release was met with a fascinating response by the wider community, a response which, interestingly enough, I see as mirroring much of the dialogue around the High Seas product concerns. So today, let's look at the Blaze situation 1 year later, how community feedback does indeed matter, and what we should learn from that, but we'll probably choose not to. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando.
The release of Blaze as an exclusive hero seems like a slippery slope. This is a complete non-issue. Blaze is gonna be in the next set. It's all Arcane. While that's possible, it seems unlikely given that Blaze is clearly from Volcor and the next set is not. Nah, that doesn't matter. It's all Arcane. She's gonna be in it. As an adult, too. Blaze will definitely be in the first strike decks. Maybe, but Wizard doesn't seem super intro player friendly. I don't know that she will be in the first strike decks. I mean, it just makes sense. She'll be in the first strike decks. You are totally overreacting. James said she's going to be a prize for the next skirmish season. Given the fact that Blaze is being released as an RF at the conventions, it's very likely that she'll be released as a cold foil as part of the skirmish events, which, let's be honest, makes her either a top 4 or a championship prize. So that seems unlikely. No, obviously, everyone's going to get her. Okay, we'll see. It doesn't even matter. It's just Blitz. I don't even know what to tell you about that one, buddy.
The release of Blaze Firemind as a 2024 Summer Convention promo sparked significant controversy and was met with backlash from the wider community. While Legend Story Studios intended for Blaze to be an exciting convention exclusive, her status as a mechanically unique tournament-legal hero created concern. The primary reason for Blaze's negative reception was the method of her release. While not the first mechanically unique card to be released as a promo, and with no tie to a traditional product, Blaze was the first such promo to be tournament legal. Unlike previous promotional cards, which were often alternate art versions or special treatments, or silly cards that were not legal for competitive play, Blaze was a brand new and powerful hero, immediately legal in the Blitz format. And after Blaze's announcement last year, I was very outspoken as to my concern about it. I'm not a Wizard player, so the hero itself being released as she was didn't really affect me personally. But there was no denying the concern around the precedent being set, and I believed every Fab player should have been as well. In a Twitter post on May 14th, 2024, I outlined that I thought Blaze represented a slippery slope. The following week, I was joined by a friend of the channel, and overall amazing YouTube creator Sloopdupe, where we dove into the topic. We talked at length about it, the risks, and in general, the sentiment was that Blaze herself wasn't a problem, but the concept of her release was indeed concerning for the future. See, most players' concerns about Blaze wasn't actually Blaze herself. Instead, it was concern about the future release strategy. Players worried, and justifiably so, that this could set a precedent for more mechanically unique heroes being locked behind promotional avenues rather than being part of future set releases, which, of course, could impact accessibility and fairness. But, just like any time someone expresses concern in the Flesh and Blood community, someone else is there to dismiss their concerns as unjustified. It was the response to both my post and the Sloop video that really took me off guard. In short, there was an incredible amount of anger directed at me for my discussion on the subject. Now, one of the more ridiculous arguments at the time was, of course, well, it's fine because she's only in Blitz, completely ignoring, of course, the crux of the argument that it set a precedent for everything else. But then, of course, mere months later, Aria, Scarlet Revenger. In a September 5th article announcing the 5th anniversary celebrations around the globe, the announcement of Aria, a classic constructed legal hero available only in 5th anniversary boosters at Worlds and as part of LGS celebrations worldwide. So Andrew, what's the problem then? It was available at Worlds, and they sent it out to every single LGS. Well, if you couldn't go to Worlds, or your LGS had more than 16 people, well, you're kind of up a creek for that one. And I can also double down that everyone knew this wasn't enough, because in my local community, we had the scalpers coming out, going to every event in town, trying to get as many possible, and trying to flip them. They wouldn't have been doing that if there was enough to go around. And the fact that even today, Aria is selling for $6 to $8 on TCG Player, which is 6 to 8 times more than your average Majestic hero, that should really tell you something. So for someone aggressively dismissing this type of product release for Aria, the real way to translate that is, well, I got one, so I don't care. Now, while I of course understand that the internet is the internet, and gamers always have strong opinions that they don't always express in perhaps the best way, I was very surprised about the, shall we say, passionate efforts to either deflect or outright dismiss my opinion. And for a while I was pretty bothered about it, until I had a realization. See, there are those in the Flesh and Blood community to where their love of the game and their quite justified faith in Legend Story Studios translates into LSS can do no wrong. And some of those folks were unable to wrap their heads around the fact that something was happening that they actually weren't okay with. See, if LSS can do no wrong, but something is happening that they don't like, it doesn't compute, and thus it had to be channeled elsewhere. From the get-go, the situation was clear, and the timing was clear. Blaze wasn't going to be in any currently planned product. But that didn't compute, and thus the displeasure was directed at those, like myself and Sloop, who chose to speak out against it. It didn't matter that the feedback was constructive. It didn't matter that the feedback pointed out logical problems technical within the rules of the game to this method of release. All of that was irrelevant because it went against their narrative of everything is awesome.
Oh my gosh, I love this song! Everything is awesome.
For me, I love this game, and more so, I love what it stands for. In-person play that builds local community. But part of loving something is wanting it to be the best that it can be. And what's more is that I know it to be true that LSS listens. Hell, that's probably what we love most about them, right? And thus, I believe it to be completely reasonable to provide constructive feedback when it's warranted. And it works. The summer convention promos for 2025? Rainbow foil treatments. No more exclusives, at least for now. And the con exclusive armory decks, the exclusive cards are being released in Gem Pack 3. The scoreboard is there. Every statement used to discredit my concerns about Blaze have now been shown to be false over the last year. We were heard by LSS, and it mattered. The people who were ultimately wrong weren't the ones sharing their concerns. They were the ones dismissing those concerns, and in some cases, outright attacking people for having them. Sometimes, things we don't like happen, even by people we do like, such as, maybe, this video for some of you. So, why even talk about this now, a year later, other than, sure, maybe a bit of a scoreboard type moment? But really, it's because the exact same thing is happening all over again right now regarding High Seas product availability concerns. I am absolutely blown away to find out how much of the Flesh and Blood community apparently are experts in global shipping and logistics. I had no idea, but it's good to know. The supply issue has nothing to do with print numbers. It's due to the holdup in U.S. Customs, which I find that argument to be highly enlightening, because I didn't realize that U.S. Customs impacted the shipments to our Chilean and Brazilian friends or to our friends in Germany. There's apparently a lot of baristas out there with MBAs in global logistics. Look, folks, it's been a rough couple of months, okay? Shelter was a problem. Clave was a problem. The price of the game is a problem. High Seas availability is a problem. And it is okay to talk about it. It's very, very clear that Rosetta, The Hunted, and certainly High Seas were not printed equivalent to demand. And hey, there are any number of reasonable explanations as to how we got here, and growth as a problem statement is actually a net long-term positive. But right now, it doesn't mean that it's not a problem. It very much is impacting real people in our local communities. And even more importantly, it doesn't mean you're not allowed to talk about it. This fan kid canned go-to of they're aware of the problem is true, but part of that awareness comes from giving feedback, right? The most toxic part of our online community isn't people who make complaints. Rather, it's the people who attack other players for complaining and giving feedback. Correct or not, valid or not, We're all in this together, and generally, we want the same thing. So community first, always, and go Commando.